Namaste. Welcome to the 27th talk on the Bhagavad Gita. We're still in the 5th chapter, and here is the 20th verse. One should not exult when encountering what is liked. One should not be repulsed when encountering the disliked. In other words, you're not overwhelmed by it. Now, you wouldn't be sensible if you would not be gladdened at what is good and true and either saddened or rejective of what is false and what is evil. Krishna is saying you don't let it unbalance your mind. You look at it. It may be tremendously good. It may be tremendously bad, but you don't let yourself get carried away by an emotional, because that's not an intelligent reaction, an emotional reaction to either of these things. But don't let evil people try to tell you that this means that, oh, good and bad are exactly just the same and it doesn't matter and who is all in the cosmic dream and so on. They are liars, and their desire is to take you away from the genuine path that leads to reality. You should be, you see, we're made of many layers. And so we're talking now very much about the senses and then the emotions. But there is also the intelligence that we've been told is essential for us. The principle of jnana, real knowledge that we have to have. So there is an intellectual attraction and an intellectual repulsion that is simply based on sensible perception. I mean, it shouldn't be like, oh, I just hate that, and oh, I just love that, which we all engage in. But when we see evil, we should be able to say, evil, that is evil, and protect ourselves from it, or remove ourselves from where it is, with no emotional reaction, with no personal reaction. And the same about the good. We should grow after the good, but not as a passion, not as an emotional thing, but as this is the intelligent thing to do. So we have to understand this, because a lot of people would try to have us try to turn ourselves into willful zombies. Oh, yes, it doesn't touch me, it doesn't bother me, and so on. I was like, there was a comedian, I forget his name, but he was very, very good. And he would often start his routine with he would be very deadpan and very kind of like this. And he would say, I used to be a dull guy. Well, the forces of evil would like the yogis to become balanced and calm and not interfering with their evil little games. But a yogi also, you see, satya, truth. You have to speak the truth. And it also means that a yogi should say, do you see that? It's false. It's wrong. Don't be deceived by it. Don't be fooled by it. Otherwise, you are harming the people that could be deceived. So you have to have, of course, an intelligent balance on it. That is why you have to be intelligent. There are no, Yogananda said, stupid people cannot find God. Because you've got to have a keen awareness and a keen classification. You get this, oh, don't judge, don't be judgmental. You see, the word in the Bible, in the Greek, of course, Jesus spoke in Aramaic, about judge is to condemn with the desire to harm or to oppress the thing, oppress the person. There should be no emotional reaction. But there should be an intelligent reaction. Well, I'm taking a long time on that, but that's because there's this, oh, it's all one and so on people who are foul people. If you get to know them and if you get to know their thoughts, they are foul people. And so they hide behind and they try to intimidate you with this Samadarshana, all is equal and all is one, and who that shouldn't matter, and so on. It certainly should. Otherwise, you're not a decent and moral person. So, you don't have a, oh, I'm so happy and oh, I'm so sad reaction. All right. With firm intellect. Well, if that doesn't mean that you've made a judgment, if that doesn't mean if you haven't figured something out and said this is the way to go, not the way to go, that is a good thing to keep with me. That's not a good thing to keep with me. What else could it mean? With firm intellect. Intellect isn't firm like I can't tell the difference between this or that. You know, remember the Pythons, they had a fake commercial where these people were saying, I can't tell the difference between something or other margarine and this dead crab. Uh, so we're not supposed to be fools. See, Sri Ramakrishna used to say, be a devotee. But why a fool? So a firm intellect. You figured it out and you're going in the right direction. Undiluted. No mistaken view, no mistaken response. Not fooled by anything. The second disciple of Yogananda in this country was Warren Vickerman. I've mentioned before, and I think I've mentioned this incident before, but is very good. Warren was a supreme yogi. He was a very hidden yogi, and people didn't really guess his greatness. But his wife, Annie Vickerman, who was a dear friend, told me a lot about him. And she told me that one time, a supposed yogi that was attending the SRF Center in New York, where Warren was the head, came and talked about wonderful, joyful, spiritual experiences in meditation and told it quite well and very convincingly. And Annie was incredibly impressed. And she thought, well, this person is really getting ahead, getting somewhere. And she felt inspired by it. So when the person left, she said to Warren, that was amazing, wasn't it? He said, every word was a lie. Not one phrase was the truth. Well, she was shocked. She said, how do you know? He said, I was watching his heart center all the time. So Warren could see the chakra and see the energies and tell what was true and what was false. That's what a yogi should be able to do. A yogi should have an intuition. So the moment he encounters reality, he thinks, this is great, this is real. And the moment he encounters delusion and falsehood, he knows, not emotionally, he just knows, all right, be careful about this and let's just stay away from it. This is so important. With firm intellect, undiluted, the knower of Brahman is established in Brahman. You don't believe in Brahman, you become Brahman. If you don't turn into that, then it isn't a part of your reality. It's identity. See? Everybody, when it comes to marriage, likes to go about, oh, two hearts that beat as one and all this kind of talk, you know. Wonderful composer, German composer, Stoltz, wrote a song called Two Hearts in Three-Quarter Time, blah, 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 blah. This only takes place in the realm of true spirit, the yogi and Brahman. All right. He who self is unattached to external context. Well, first of all, we know that the self is transcendent. So why do we say he whose self is unattached to external context? Well, that's because we often think we know ourselves and are in ourselves when we're not. So if we are attached to external context, we're not in the self. That's the lower self, the ego, the senses, and even lower, lesser intellect, usually mostly emotions, such as I want to be a little sunbeam and I want to just, feel, oh, how wise I am, and at last I am free from former ideas. There are people who congratulate themselves all the time. But if it's your true nature, what are you going to congratulate yourself for? You haven't attained it. So, anyway, he whose self is unattached to external contacts, who finds happiness in the self, really, that is, he can experience himself. He sits there and he is in the self. Those who do Soham Japa, Soham meditation, this will be their ability. And they will find that. And they won't need to read it. They won't need to even hear me say it. They will be living it. Whose self is united to Brahman by yoga, not by love, not by devotion, not by discriminative reasoning and so on, but by yoga. And yoga is sadhana. It's the process of going to and recognizing ourselves as the goal itself. Such a one reaches imperishable happiness. In other words, nothing can take it away. It will always be the same. Sri Ramakrishna, of course, was a very remarkable person, incredibly interesting, and incredibly inconceivable because of his greatness. But there's an interesting account of when he was dying. He got cancer of the throat and died of it, theoretically. Of course, the truth is he brought it about, and that was his excuse for leaving the body. But anyhow, there he had it, and it was very real. It wasn't just a mere appearance. And there were two disciples at different times. With one, Sri Ramakrishna began saying, "Oh, the pain! It's terrible. I don't know if I can bear it." And he was lamenting, and the disciple sat there and cried, and being himself so grieved. There was another disciple. He did the same thing. Actually, there was just that disciple, and then a disciple with him that usually sort of looked after Sri Ramakrishna in his illness. So that other disciple, not the one looking after him, was there. And Sri Ramakrishna began saying the same thing and lamenting and saying, "Oh, it's so terrible. It's awful. And the pain, the agony." And the disciple said, "I don't care what you say. I see you as an ocean of bliss." And Sri Ramakrishna smiled and turned to the man that was looking after him and said, "This rascal has figured me out." You see? Yes, imperishable happiness. Truly, pleasures born of contact with the senses are wombs of pain. since they have a beginning and an end. The wise man is not satisfied with them. Because when we like something and we have it and then it goes, we feel sad. We feel something may be lacking. We may even feel empty. And so all of these experiences, even feeling of attachments or even love, enjoyment, they can be more emotion than really intelligent experiences, depending on the individual. But he says just the fact that they end, well, you wouldn't think that you would grieve over pain having an end, but um, the main thing is the pleasures. They have a beginning and an end. We grieve over the end. When I was at college, I met a really remarkable woman. Uh, I forget her first name completely. Her last name was Livesey, just like Dr. Livesey in Treasure Island. And remarkable woman, incredibly intelligent. She was working in the university library in their music room where they had recordings of music for people to come and listen to. Often, some uh, professors would assign to people or to a whole class, you should go and listen to such and such a piece of music, and then they would discuss it. So usually she was all by herself, all through the evening into late at night, and therefore they had her doing all kinds of work, such as gluing uh, library card pockets into books and so on, things like that. And there was just her. Well, as soon as I met her, I knew this is a person. So I used to go every night, and we would talk for 3, 4 hours or so on. And she'd had a very interesting life. And but she told me one time that she had never in her life enjoyed a single party she'd gone to. And that everything in her life that was an event that she really enjoyed ultimately ended in her feeling miserable. She said, I'll be at a party and we'll be smiling and we'll be having talk with each other. And and I'll be thinking, oh, I like this. And then I'll think, but it's going to end in an hour or so. It's going to be over. And she said, then I go into depression and I'm miserable for the whole rest of the party or for other things experiences she would have. I've known of people who really felt bad when they were coming to the end of a book they really, really like to read, and they think, oh no, there's only maybe half a dozen pages left, and then it's going to be over. I won't be reading it anymore. But Mrs. Livesey, it was very emotional and always a continual thing. So this also causes misery. It's going to end. And it's good for us to realize, even at the beginning, it's good for us to realize there will be an end. Therefore, we don't let that create our satisfaction. We can enjoy it, but there's a difference between enjoyment and satisfaction. Satisfaction is fulfillment. There is no fulfillment outside of the self. He who is able to endure here on earth before liberation from the body, the agitation that arises from desire and anger is steadfast, a happy man. In other words, desire in the sense of, I really like that, I enjoy it, and I detest it, I hate it, I don't want to have anything to do with it. Attraction and aversion, raga-dwesha. So, those who, even now in the body, can see things in their higher condition and therefore not be pushed back and forth between these two poles. Will be a steadfast and a happy person. And our 20 minutes have just now ended. So, Namaste Ji, goodbye until next time. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your visit. And I hope you'll be back.